Hello and welcome to everybody who is watching. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to my home. My name is Holiday, and if you're doing my 30-day challenge or if you're watching this at a later date, I am going to be answering some questions that have been sent in to me this week about meditation. So let's just get right into it. The first question, and I love this question because I've asked this question many times before. The question is, I really want to enjoy meditation, but after like 2 minutes, I just feel bored. Is it meant to be like that, or is it just me? Amazing question. I'm sure so many people have asked the same thing. So let me break it down piece by piece. Is it just you? No, absolutely not. It's everybody. Is it meant to be like that? Yeah, if that's what you're experiencing in the meditation, then that is exactly how it's meant to be. And is meditation just boring? Yeah, sometimes it is. Let me unpack that a little bit. So you start with us saying, I really want to enjoy meditation. Well, to start with, meditation isn't there for you to enjoy necessarily. Meditation, or the style of meditation that I teach, is awareness of what is. And what is isn't necessarily enjoyable in the way that we tend to understand enjoyable. So when we think, I want to enjoy this, we think, I want to feel good or happy or pleasure. And actually, that's not what often comes up for us in meditation. Often it's frustration or pain or indeed boredom. And I always say that meditation is really a practice ground for real life. So as we go about our day-to-day life, yes, we're going to feel happy and excited sometimes. We're also going to feel frustrated and angry and bored. And it's this thing, this seeking to not feel any of those negative emotions that actually keeps us in a cycle of not being present and always feeling in some way disappointed with our lives. So if we're feeling happy, then things are great. But if we feel bored, then life isn't so good. Do you see? And really, meditation is the practice of accepting whatever is. So if we sit in meditation and we feel bored, that doesn't mean that it's not going the way it should. It means that it's an opportunity for us to practice. What does it feel like to be bored? And how can I accept that as it is? And in doing that, training ourselves to be able to show up in our normal lives with total acceptance of what is, not always trying to run to the good, exciting stuff and repel away the bad stuff, but just being able to ride the waves of good and bad and good and bad. And actually, for me, at the core of this is really the difference between happiness and joy. So, happiness, that feeling of always feeling good, that's impossible to hold on to all of the time. When I think about the word enjoy, being in joy, it is actually possible to be in joy when we're angry or sad or frustrated or bored. Because to me, that being in joy is simply a feeling of being open and accepting and okay with whatever is. So, to your question, yeah, it's okay if you feel bored. The practice is to sit with it, not try and run away from it, not try and change it, not try and make yourself happy, but to just accept boredom is there, and that's okay. And to take that a little bit further, it's actually not just about learning to tolerate boredom. So I tell a story. Back in 2008, in Washington, there was a classical orchestra coming to play at some posh concert hall. And one of the world's most famous violinists, Joshua Bell, went down to the Washington subway and played, I think it was 7 Bach pieces over 45 minutes, what he was going to play that evening in the concert hall. And he played during rush hour, and everybody just rushed by. I think one person stopped for 30 seconds, dropped $1, and they were just on their way. No one stopping to listen to this world famous violinist who people were paying hundreds of dollars to see that night. And the only person who stopped for any significant period of time was a 3-year-old child until his parents dragged him away. And that story to me is so profound because we often live our lives in such a rush to get on to the next good thing that we actually miss the beauty that's there in front of us. So, as you sit in meditation and you feel bored, use it as an opportunity, yes, to practice being in boredom, but also as an opportunity to learn how to be in the spaces between what you see as good, enjoyable times. And I promise you, more beauty than you could currently imagine is going to show up in those spaces. So I hope that answers your first question. And let's go on to the second question. So this one is also an awesome question. And it goes, I love meditation and meditating, but sometimes I don't want to do it every day and it feels forced. I used to force it, but now I just go with the flow, which is around 3 to 4 times per week. So my question is, do you think it is something that should be forced even when you don't want to do it? Really good question. Okay, so it's taken me a long time to get to this point, but I really believe now that a good meditation practice exists at the sweet spot between compassion and discipline. So, what I mean by that is, if you're meditating 3 to 4 times a week, and sometimes you wake up and you just don't feel like doing it, should you force yourself? Well, no, you shouldn't be forcing yourself to do anything that you don't want to do. Meditation is not meant to be punitive or another thing on your to-do list that you need to beat yourself up about if you don't do. So if it's coming from a place of, hey, I've got a really consistent meditation practice, I know when I want to meditate, I know when actually it's just not feeling quite right, and I'm confident that that's coming from a balanced place, then no, absolutely, if you don't want to meditate, don't force it. However, there is a trap to fall into here. Sometimes when we don't want to meditate, what we're actually avoiding is having to sit with ourselves with something that we don't want to face. So something that's maybe happened the day before, or some issue that's rearing its head that we don't want to have to look at, because we all know that when we sit in silence, no distractions, no phone, no TV, we got to look at our own stuff, and that can be really icky. So I would say, if you don't feel like meditating, don't force yourself, with the caveat that you start to notice, when I don't feel like meditating, is there a pattern? Have I had a really crappy day the day before? Or am I feeling upset? Or am I feeling really happy? Is there a pattern that's showing up when I don't want to meditate? And if there is, then I would advise you to lean into it and just try meditating when you feel like you don't want to, and see if there's something a little bit deeper. A really good technique that you can use for this is to journal after you meditate. And if you do the meditations when you don't really feel like that, and then when you journal, different kind of stuff is coming up, then you're probably avoiding meditating for some reason that it would possibly be good for you to look at. So I hope that answers your question. And my third question, which is also a really good question, is I really like meditating, but I find that whenever I sit down to meditate, I just fall asleep. What am I doing wrong, Holiday? Okay, cool. So this is such a common question I get. So first of all, often when we talk about meditation, we talk about taking a moment to check in with ourselves, to check in with how are we feeling, what's going on in our body, what thoughts are we having. So if you find that every time you check in with yourself, you're just falling asleep, that may be your body's really big alarm bells just saying, girl, you are tired. And no amount of meditation is going to make up for you chronically undersleeping. So if every time you sit down to meditate, you're just falling asleep, the first question I would ask you is, are you getting enough sleep? There's a lot of people who say that 1 hour of meditation is equivalent to like 700 hours of sleep. But that may be true, but that really refers to a sustained meditation practice. If you're sleeping 2 hours a night, 1 hour's meditation ain't gonna help you. So if you're falling asleep every time you meditate, get more sleep. If you are getting enough sleep, then there are some really practical tools, techniques that you can use. Number one, meditate with your eyes open. So there's whole schools of meditation that actually advocate for an eye open meditation. Doesn't mean you need to be eyes open looking at everything, but just eyes open, hold your gaze down softly, and then meditate just as you would with your eyes shut. If you're still falling asleep in that, then try walking meditation. So exactly the same as when I say find yourself a comfortable seated position, you can use the same meditation, but just gently Take one step after another, feeling into the ground on your feet, staying with your breath. And do your meditation like that. And it's going to be really hard to fall asleep when you're walking. Another practical tool you can use if you can't walk or you don't want to leave your eyes open, meditate in a cold place. So just hold a window open, somewhere where you're going to get some fresh air that's just going to keep you slightly pepped up. So that's this week's answers to your questions. I really hope some of it or all of it was useful to you. Please let me know in the comment section below if it was helpful. If you have any other questions, if there's anything about meditation you want me to talk about, just let me know. I'll be back with another Q&A next Friday. Keep on going with your 30-day challenge. You're doing so well. And I will see you next week. With so much love, signing off.